The purpose of this exercise is not just learning how to dance on the hi-hat, but more specifically, how to transition from the kick to the hi-hat, and then back to the kick, and then back to the hi-hat, back and forth, back and forth. What we're gonna do is, here's a sequence, and throughout this entire sequence, it's gonna be pas de bourree in the same rhythmic pattern. And I think that is actually the beauty of this exercise, the fact that we're not changing the rhythmic pattern at all. So in the sequence, it's gonna consist of 3 sets of pas de bourrees, each set consisting of an 8 count. The first pas de bourree, we're gonna do our standard 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And the way I annotated it here is if you don't see any markings, that means we're not dancing on it. Similarly, if you see something written here, we are dancing on it. So again, to repeat, 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So that's the first set of pas de bourrees, and I'll demo this in a second, in its entirety actually. The second round, or the second 8 count, we're gonna skip the 1, start our pas de bourree, again, the same rhythmic pattern, but on the 2. So it's gonna go 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7. And then I'm not gonna say and right now because this one's special. This and is gonna be the marker or starter of our same rhythmic pas de bourree, but it's gonna be on the hi-hat. And this is gonna lead us into the 3rd set. Before I jump the gun there, if we just count out the first 2 rounds, it's gonna look like this. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7. Okay, so that's tying the first 2 sets together. For the 3rd pas de bourree, or set of pas de bourrees, we're gonna go and 1 and 3 and 5 and 7 and. So this is something I introduced. It's a subtle change to Walid's workshop. The way he was counting it for us, if I recall correctly, was and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. However, I wrote it out this way so that it aligns with the other 2 rounds. In any case, the beauty again of this is the fact that we're gonna loop. Once we're done with the hi-hat round here, we're gonna go all the way back to the top and start all over. So if I just count all the way through, it's gonna look like this. 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8, skip the 1, 2 and 3, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, and 1 and 3 and 5 and 7 and. Okay, now I'm gonna demo it, and then you'll see me loop all the way back around. And what I'll do as I'm demoing this is when I hold my finger up for 1, that signifies this round. So that's a 1 and 2, 3 and 4. When I put my fingers up for 2, that's gonna signify the second round where I'm skipping the 1, starting on the 2 and then when you see me put my 3 fingers up, and this is kind of my adjustment as well, you'll see me dancing on the hi-hat, which is here, 3rd round, the and 1 and 3 and then I'll switch my fingers and I'll go back to round 1. And then one other thing is, this wasn't done in the workshop either. Although we could do it to music, I thought it might be a little more simple to drown out all the other sounds. And I could have done that with a mixer, but instead, I just went and set up GarageBand right here. And I'll dig into this a little bit later if you're curious. But essentially, I had to make some modifications to the settings so that you could see the full 8 count in there. Anyway, so now I'm gonna start this. All right, I'm gonna use my fingers and hopefully you can see me dancing to it. What I'm gonna do is my fingers are gonna represent which set of pas de bourrees I'm doing. So referring back to the annotated paper, this is gonna be set 1 of pas de bourrees, set 2 pas de bourrees, or the second 8 count, the 3rd set of pas de bourrees. And then when you see me do this, that just means I'm skipping the 1 of the second set, okay? So when I do this, that just means we're skipping the 1. So here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8.